We gaze into the depths of space not only to understand the universe, but also to understand ourselves. For we are stardust, carrying the echoes of billions of years of cosmic journeys. The universe, an endless tapestry of time and space. The universe, a vast, boundless expanse, a cosmic symphony of galaxies, stars, and worlds suspended in the infinite darkness. It is a place of breathtaking beauty and unfathomable complexity, a realm where time stretches beyond our comprehension and distances become meaningless to the human mind. And yet, despite its immensity, despite the sheer scale of creation itself, we fragile beings born of stardust have dared to ask, where did it all begin? To peer into the cosmos is to journey backward through time. Every distant star, every glowing nebula, is a whisper from the past, a light that has traveled millions, even billions, of years to reach our eyes. And beyond them, far beyond the stars we can see, lie the very first echoes of creation, the relics of a beginning so immense, so violent, that it set the very fabric of reality into motion. Some 13.8 billion years ago, there was nothing. No space, no time, no matter. And then, a moment beyond human language, beyond comprehension, the universe was born. A singularity, a point smaller than an atom, erupted with incomprehensible energy, expanding outward, creating time, creating space. This was the Big Bang, not an explosion, but a rapid unfolding, the genesis of everything. In its earliest moments, the universe was a seething ocean of particles and radiation, a place where matter and antimatter collided and annihilated in a chaotic dance. In the darkness, energy cooled, and the building blocks of reality emerged. Hydrogen, helium, lithium. These first, simplest elements, formed in the primordial fire, would go on to build everything: the stars, the galaxies, the planets, and ultimately us. Yet, the universe remained formless, a vast glowing fog of ionized gas. For hundreds of thousands of years, light itself could not travel freely, scattered endlessly by the charged particles that filled the young cosmos. But then, a shift, the first great transformation of the universe. The temperature dropped. Atoms formed. Electrons settled into orbits around nuclei, and the universe, for the first time, became transparent.
The light of this moment, the cosmic microwave background, still lingers today, a silent whisper from the dawn of time, stretched and cooled by the relentless expansion of space.
With time, gravity, the invisible sculptor of the cosmos, began its patient work. Tiny variations in density, ripples left over from the birth of the universe, grew into vast clouds of hydrogen and helium. These clouds coalesced, collapsed, ignited. The first stars were born. These were not like the stars of today. They were giants, titans of unimaginable brilliance and heat, burning with a fierce intensity. They lived fast, died young, and in their deaths, they changed the universe forever. For within their fiery cores, the fusion of elements began. Hydrogen became helium. Helium became carbon, oxygen, silicon, iron. And when these ancient suns exploded in cataclysmic supernovae, they cast these elements across the cosmos, seeding the universe with the raw materials for planets, for oceans, for life. In the vastness of space, entire galaxies began to take shape, spirals of light and dust, clusters of billions upon billions of stars. And in one of these galaxies, on the edge of a minor spiral arm, a cloud of gas and dust collapsed once more, giving birth to a star, a small, unremarkable star. Around it, the leftover debris clumped and merged, forming planets, moons, asteroids. One world, third from the sun, was different. Not because it was large or bright or unique in its formation, but because on its surface, in the shallow waters of its young oceans, chemistry transformed into biology. A fragile, delicate miracle, life. The story of the universe is not just the story of stars and galaxies. It is our story. We are connected, in the most fundamental way, to the cosmos itself. The iron in our blood, the calcium in our bones, the oxygen we breathe, all were forged in the hearts of ancient stars. We are, in the most literal sense, made of stardust. And yet, despite all we have learned, the universe remains a mystery. We have uncovered the forces that shape it, the relentless pull of gravity, the subtle influence of quantum mechanics, the eerie presence of dark matter, an invisible substance that binds galaxies together. And yet, there is something more. A force we do not yet understand. Dark energy. A force that defies gravity, that accelerates the expansion of the universe, pushing galaxies ever farther apart. Its nature is unknown. Its fate, uncertain. But its presence suggests that the universe may not merely expand forever, but may tear itself apart in a distant future, as even the fabric of space-time succumbs to its relentless pull. What then is our place in this vast, unfolding story? We are but a fleeting moment in cosmic time, our lifespans mere whispers against the background of eternity. And yet, we are aware. We are conscious. We have the rare privilege of looking out into the universe and understanding, even in the smallest way, the grand and intricate story of its creation. The stars that shine in the night sky are echoes of a distant past. The light we see has traveled for millions of years, crossing the empty void, carrying with it the history of time itself. But beyond that light, there is still more.
The future, unwritten, unknown, unfolding vis ever passing sekund.
The universe does not exist for us. It is not ours to command or to shape. But for a brief, wondrous moment, we are here. A part of it. A fragment of eternity, bound by the same cosmic laws, touched by the same ancient stardust. And perhaps if we listen closely, if we continue to explore, to question, to wonder, we may yet uncover the secrets of the cosmos, and in doing so, understand not just the universe but ourselves. The universe is a story without an ending, a cosmic narrative written in the silent language of light, gravity, and time. Every moment, it expands, stretching the fabric of space, carrying galaxies ever farther apart, their stars drifting toward the unknown. And yet, for all its vastness, for all its grand and indifferent beauty, the universe remains an enigma, one we are only just beginning to decipher. What we see, what we measure, what we can grasp with our instruments and equations, is only a fragment of the whole. The cosmos we observe, the swirling galaxies, the brilliant stars, the intricate dance of planets, makes up less than 5% of all that exists. The rest, an invisible presence, hides beyond our perception, shaping the universe in ways we are only beginning to understand. Dark matter. An unseen force, undetectable by conventional means, yet woven into the very structure of the cosmos. It is the silent architect of galaxies, sculpting their rotations, anchoring them against the forces that should, by all logic, tear them apart. Without it, the great spirals that adorn the universe would unravel, their stars cast adrift into the endless night. And yet, we do not know what it is. We cannot touch it, cannot see it. We only know that it is there, lurking in the void, guiding the galaxies in their cosmic waltz. And then, there is something stranger still. Dark energy. A force more mysterious than dark matter, more powerful than gravity itself. It does not pull, but pushes. It does not bind, but separates. It is the reason the universe is accelerating, expanding at an ever-increasing pace. A century ago, we thought the cosmos was static, eternal, unchanging. Now we know otherwise. The universe is not only growing, it is rushing outward, the distances between galaxies stretching like a vast cosmic tide. What will this mean for the future? Will the galaxies continue their retreat, vanishing beyond the horizon of our observable universe, their light fading into the abyss? Will the stars one day cease to shine, leaving behind only the cold remnants of a cosmos that was? Or will the universe, driven by some yet undiscovered force, collapse back upon itself, beginning the cycle anew? There are theories, predictions, glimpses of possibilities. Some suggest the universe will expand forever, growing colder and darker until all energy is spent, a silent eternal void where nothing more can happen. Others envision a more dramatic fate, the Big Rip, where dark energy grows stronger over time, tearing galaxies apart, then stars, then planets, and finally atoms themselves, until nothing remains but scattered particles adrift in an empty cosmos. And yet, there is another possibility. Perhaps the universe will one day cycle back upon itself. A great contraction, reversing the expansion, pulling galaxies inward, collapsing matter into a final singularity, only to be born again in another great explosion, another Big Bang, another beginning. A universe without end, without a final fate, but rather an eternal sequence of creation and destruction, an infinite rebirth written into the very laws of physics. But for now, the universe continues as it has for billions of years, expanding, cooling, evolving. Stars are born, live, and die, scattering their elements across the void, forming new generations of celestial bodies, new worlds, new possibilities. Somewhere, in the deep reaches of space, among the trillions of planets that orbit distant suns, could life be stirring? Are we alone in this vast cosmic expanse, or are there others, beings looking up at their own skies, wondering, as we do, about their place in the cosmos? The search for life beyond Earth is not just a search for the exotic, it is a search for ourselves. If we find life elsewhere, even the simplest organism buried beneath the icy crust of a distant moon, it would mean that the universe is not barren, that life is not an anomaly but a consequence of the cosmos itself. It would mean that we are part of something greater, a vast, interconnected web of existence stretching across the stars. And if we do not find it? If the universe is empty, save for us? Then the responsibility becomes ours. To explore, to understand, to carry forward the legacy of consciousness, to be the eyes and the mind of the cosmos, contemplating itself. For all we have learned, for all the questions we have answered, the greatest mysteries remain.
Wat lies bei ons the observable universe? What existed before the Big Bang?
What is the true nature of time, of space, of reality itself? These are the questions that drive us forward, that fuel our journey into the unknown. The universe is vast beyond reckoning. And yet we, small, fragile, ephemeral, have looked into its depths and dared to ask, to seek, to understand. We have sent machines beyond our solar system, our robotic emissaries drifting into the cosmic void, carrying our hopes, our questions, our longing. We have built telescopes that capture the light of ancient galaxies, peering into the earliest moments of time itself. And still we push forward, toward the stars, toward the future. Perhaps one day, humanity will leave its cradle, spreading outward, building civilizations among the stars. Perhaps we will witness the birth of new worlds, sail upon the cosmic winds, and chart the distant frontiers of a universe still unfolding. Or perhaps we are only at the beginning of a far greater journey, one whose destination remains unknown. The universe is not merely a place. It is a process, an unfolding story, a grand experiment in existence itself. And we are part of it. A brief flicker in the grand cosmic ocean. A momentary consciousness in the vastness of time. But a moment is enough. A moment to wonder. A moment to explore. A moment to understand. And perhaps that is what makes us special. Not our dominance, not our technology, but our curiosity. The simple, unrelenting urge to look up at the stars and ask, what else is out there? The universe is a vast and restless entity, an intricate interplay of forces and matter, a living testament to time itself. Its story is not a static one. It is a saga of creation and destruction, of expansion and collapse, of stars igniting and fading into the void. And we, mere fragments of this grand cosmic design, find ourselves standing at the edge of knowledge, peering into the depths, trying to grasp the infinite. For all its brilliance and majesty, the universe is indifferent. It does not concern itself with meaning or purpose. It does not recognize the tiny creatures that inhabit a minor planet orbiting an ordinary star on the fringes of an unremarkable galaxy. And yet, despite our insignificance in the cosmic scale, we are capable of understanding it. We have measured the distances between galaxies, traced the life cycles of stars, and glimpsed the earliest moments of time. We have mapped the cosmic web, a vast scaffolding of dark matter and glowing clusters of galaxies stretching across the universe. We have unraveled the forces that shape the cosmos, gravity, electromagnetism, nuclear interactions, and discovered that they have remained unchanged since the dawn of time. But there are still mysteries beyond our grasp. Forces that elude explanation. Questions that seem to have no answer. We do not know what dark matter is, yet it sculpts the universe. We do not understand dark energy, yet it accelerates the cosmos into an unknown future. We do not know if time itself had a beginning, or if it extends infinitely in both directions, an endless river flowing beyond the boundaries of our understanding. And what of life? We know that we exist. That, against unfathomable odds, consciousness has emerged. But are we alone? Or is the universe teeming with life, scattered across the light years, hidden among the billions of planets that orbit distant suns? The conditions that led to life on Earth are delicate and improbable, yet the universe is vast beyond reckoning. With every passing year, we discover more planets in distant star systems, some rocky, some with atmospheres, some with conditions that hint at the possibility of liquid water. The ingredients of life, carbon, water, complex molecules, are scattered across the cosmos. If life arose once, it may have arisen countless times. And if it has? If somewhere in the depths of space, other minds contemplate their own existence, look up at their own skies and wonder as we do, what then? Would we recognize them? Would they be bound by the same physics, the same chemistry, the same fundamental limitations that shape our biology? Or would they be something altogether different, shaped by the peculiarities of their world, their environment, their evolution? And if the universe is silent, if after searching we find nothing, what does that mean? That we are alone? That life is a fleeting accident in an otherwise barren cosmos? If so, then we are not just explorers, but custodians of something rare, something precious.
Via the universuma de conscius.
The only voice in an empty expanse. Perhaps this is the paradox of existence, to be insignificant in the face of the infinite, and yet to matter because we are here, because we ask the questions, because we refuse to accept the silence.
The universe is vast, cold, impersonal.
And yet, it has given rise to something capable of seeing beauty in its grandeur, of feeling awe in its presence, of seeking to understand its deepest secrets. And in that, perhaps, there is meaning after all. The universe continues its silent expansion, an ever-growing ocean of matter and energy, stretching into the unknown. Its destiny, like its origin, is a mystery, a puzzle written in the fabric of space-time itself. But in the vastness of its existence, one undeniable truth emerges. Everything that is, everything that was, and everything that ever will be is part of the same cosmic continuum. We are made of the same elements that forged the first stars. The atoms in our bodies, the iron in our blood, the calcium in our bones, the carbon that forms the foundation of life, all were once part of ancient celestial furnaces, nuclear reactions unfolding within the hearts of dying stars. Those stars lived, burned, and eventually perished in great explosions, scattering their enriched remains into space, seeding new generations of stars and planets. It is a cycle that has repeated itself for billions of years, an unbroken chain of cosmic renewal, an intricate ballet of creation and destruction. And yet, for all its grandeur, the universe is indifferent to the beings it has spawned.
The stars do not shine for us.
The galaxies do not spiral with intent. There is no guiding hand, no predetermined path, only the fundamental laws of physics, weaving a reality beyond our control. And yet somehow we have emerged. Somehow, in the cold and silent void, life arose. Life, that delicate and fleeting anomaly, that rare flicker of complexity in an otherwise entropic universe. It is fragile, easily extinguished, vulnerable to the indifferent forces of the cosmos. And yet, it endures. It adapts. It spreads. On Earth, it has shaped itself into countless forms, each a product of billions of years of evolution, each an echo of survival written in DNA. But Earth is only one world among billions. And so we must ask, is life a singular event, a miraculous accident in an otherwise barren expanse? Or is it the inevitable result of the universe's chemistry, destined to arise wherever conditions allow? The search for life beyond Earth is not just a scientific endeavor, it is a search for meaning. If we find it, even in its simplest microbial form, it will mean that life is not an anomaly, but a cosmic principle. That the universe is not lifeless, but alive in ways we have yet to comprehend. If, among the exoplanets orbiting distant stars, we discover another world where biology has taken root, then the implications will be profound. It will mean that we are not alone. That the universe is not merely a stage for our existence, but a vast, interconnected web of life. But if we do not find it,
if the search turns up nothing but the längse,
then we must face the possibility that we are alone. That life, consciousness, intelligence, these things exist only here, on this small and fragile world, adrift in the infinite void. And if that is true, then our responsibility becomes even greater. We become not just observers of the universe, but its storytellers, its caretakers, the only voice in an otherwise silent expanse. Perhaps this is the true paradox of existence. We are so small in the face of the infinite, and yet, we are the only part of the universe that seeks to understand itself. We are stardust, bound together by the same laws that govern the galaxies, yet we possess something no star, no black hole, no drifting nebula has: awareness. For now, we remain confined to this world, looking outward, searching for answers in the vastness of space. But the cosmos is not beyond our reach forever. The same curiosity that drove us to sail across oceans, to climb mountains, to send our machines beyond the edge of our solar system, will one day propel us to the stars.
The universe is waiting.
Whether it is full of life or devoid of it, whether it is eternal or doomed to fade into darkness, it is ours to explore. And as long as we continue to question, to seek, to reach beyond our limitations, then we too are a part of the great cosmic story.
We are the eyes of the universe, looking back at itself.
We are its voice, speaking into the silence.
We are the universe made conscious.
And that, in itself, is a miracle. The universe stretches endlessly before us, a vast and restless entity, bound by the immutable laws of physics, yet constantly evolving, reshaping itself across the ages. It is a cosmos in motion, galaxies drifting apart, stars being born and dying, planets forming from dust and gas, and time itself flowing like a river without an end. And within this grand, indifferent expanse, there is us, a species of thinking beings, standing on the shores of an ocean so deep that even our greatest minds can only begin to fathom its depths. But for all our limitations, we persist. We question. We seek. We wonder. From the moment we first looked up at the night sky, we have felt the pull of the cosmos. It is an ancient longing, a desire written into our very nature, the need to understand, to explore, to venture beyond the horizon of what we know. We have always been wanderers, first across the landscapes of our world, and now, across the reaches of space. We sent our first probes beyond Earth's atmosphere less than a century ago, and yet today, our robotic emissaries drift in the interstellar void, carrying our curiosity to the stars. And this is only the beginning. One day, humanity will leave its cradle. It is inevitable. Whether by necessity or by choice, we will step beyond this world, building new homes among the planets, among the stars. The great cosmic frontier awaits, stretching before us with all its dangers and wonders. The vast deserts of Mars, the icy oceans beneath the frozen crust of Europa, the distant rings of Saturn, the endless twilight of exoplanets orbiting foreign suns. These will be our destinations, our stepping stones into the deep unknown. We are, at our core, an exploratory species. The same drive that led our ancestors to cross oceans, to climb mountains, to map the unseen landscapes of our own world will one day propel us outward. And when we stand on the surface of another world, gazing up at an unfamiliar sky, we will know this was always meant to be. The cosmos is not a place we were meant to merely observe from afar. It is a place we were meant to touch, to experience, to become a part of. But what awaits us out there? Is it an empty, silent universe, vast and indifferent? Or will we find others, other minds, other civilizations, other forms of life, shaped by environments beyond our imagination? It is one of the greatest questions we have ever asked. If life has arisen here, on a small blue planet orbiting an ordinary star, then could it not have arisen elsewhere?
The chemistry of life is not unique to us.
The building blocks of our existence, carbon, oxygen, water, complex organic molecules, are abundant in the universe. We find them in comets, in interstellar clouds, on distant moons and exoplanets. The ingredients are there. The potential is there. The only question is whether the great cosmic experiment has played out elsewhere, in different forms, under different skies. And if it has, if somewhere in the depths of space, another species has looked up at their own sky and wondered, as we do, what then? Would they be like us? Would they be bound by the same physics, the same struggles, the same questions? Or would they be something so alien, so unlike anything we have ever known, that we would struggle to comprehend them? And if instead the universe is silent, if we listen and hear nothing, what does that mean? Perhaps we are alone. Perhaps in all the vastness of space, in all the trillions of planets that orbit their distant suns, life is a rarity, an exception rather than a rule. And if that is true, then our responsibility is greater than we ever imagined. If we are alone, then we are the only witnesses to the universe's story. We are its consciousness, its memory, its only voice in the darkness. Either way, the path before us remains the same. Whether we are alone or one of many, we must continue. We must push outward, not just for survival, not just for knowledge, but because it is who we are. And even if we never reach the stars, even if our species fades away one day, the mark we have left will remain. The photons from our radio transmissions will continue traveling outward, carrying echoes of our existence. The probes we have sent into interstellar space will drift through the void for millions of years, artifacts of a civilization that once dared to dream. And if one day, another intelligence finds them, whether in 1,000 years or 1,000,000, they will know that we were here, that we existed, that we wondered. For all its cold, indifferent beauty, the universe has given rise to something remarkable. Us. Fragile, impermanent, fleeting, and yet, capable of understanding. Capable of looking into the night and seeing not just stars, but possibilities. And as long as we continue to ask, to seek, to dream, then in some small way, we have already reached the stars. The universe continues its silent expansion, an endless canvas of light and darkness, governed by forces both seen and unseen. It is a place of infinite depth and immeasurable time, where galaxies drift like islands in a vast cosmic ocean, where stars burn and die, and where space itself stretches toward an unknown fate. And yet, within this grand and indifferent expanse, there is one small, fragile world, a world where atoms have come together in such a way that they can look up and wonder.
Via the universe contemplating itself.
It is an extraordinary thought, that a cosmos born from fire and chaos, a universe governed by cold equations and impersonal forces, has somehow given rise to consciousness. That from the collapse of stars, from the dust of ancient supernovae, has emerged a species capable of asking why. And yet, for all our understanding, for all the vast knowledge we have gathered across centuries, we remain in the infancy of discovery.
The greatest mysteries still elude us. The true nature of time. The fate of the cosmos. The hidden architecture of reality itself.
We have mapped the galaxies, traced the filaments of the cosmic web, and glimpsed the afterglow of the Big Bang. But there are still places beyond our reach, realms where light itself cannot escape, the event horizons of black holes, those dark and bottomless wells of space-time, where the very fabric of reality is stretched to its limits. We do not yet understand what happens inside them. Do they lead somewhere? Do they erase information from the universe? Or do they hold the key to a deeper understanding of space, time, and existence itself? And then beyond the black holes, beyond the galaxies we can see, there lies something even more profound, the cosmic horizon, the ultimate boundary of the observable universe. The limit beyond which light has not had time to reach us, beyond which the universe continues, unseen and unknowable. What lies beyond that veil? More galaxies? More stars? Or something stranger still? A different cosmos, ruled by different laws? A multiverse, where other realities unfold in parallel to our own, forever inaccessible. We do not know, and perhaps we never will. But that does not diminish the journey. The pursuit of knowledge is not just about answers. It is about the search itself. It is about the act of reaching beyond, of pushing against the boundaries of the unknown, of refusing to accept the limits imposed by our smallness.
Vonde, wie mai venture bei ons Solarsystem.
We may send our ships sailing into the interstellar void, riding on the winds of distant suns.
Wie mai li footprints in the alien dust of volts yet undisco vereet, breate se sin air of planets orbiting distant stars.
But even if we never reach them, even if the barriers of time and distance keep us confined to this one fragile world, we have still done something extraordinary. We have dreamed of them. And perhaps that is enough. Because to dream is to reach beyond ourselves. To wonder is to defy the silence of the universe. And as long as there are minds that dare to look up at the stars and ask, what else is out there? Then the journey will never truly end. For the universe is not just a place we inhabit. It is a story we are still learning to tell.
The universe is still unfolding.
Each second, it expands further into the unknown, stretching space itself, carrying galaxies apart like leaves drifting on an invisible tide. It is an ocean with no shore, a story without an ending. And here we are, brief sparks of awareness in the vast darkness, trying to understand the grand design of which we are a part. But what is our place in this endless expanse? What role do we, as fragile beings of flesh and thought, play in a cosmos that existed long before us and will persist long after we are gone? To many, the universe may seem cold and different, a realm of forces too vast to comprehend, too detached from our brief existence to hold any meaning. But perhaps meaning is not something we find in the universe. Perhaps it is something we bring to it. For though we are small, we are not insignificant. We are the only known witnesses to this great unfolding. The only minds that can contemplate its beauty, that can trace the birth of stars and the death of galaxies, that can look beyond the veil of time itself and attempt to grasp the infinite. We are explorers, not just of space, but of knowledge. Every question we ask, every mystery we unravel, brings us closer to understanding the cosmic web that binds us all. And still, so much remains unknown. Where did it all begin? What lies beyond the boundaries of what we can see? Are we truly alone, or are there others, beings looking up at their own alien skies, pondering the same questions? We send signals into the void, radio waves stretching across the stars, hoping that somewhere, something will answer. We listen in the silence, straining to hear even the faintest whisper from another intelligence. But the universe, so far, remains quiet. Perhaps it has always been this way. Perhaps civilizations rise and fall like the flickering of fireflies, brief in cosmic time, too distant from one another to ever make contact. Or perhaps we are the first, the only, the fragile custodians of something rare and precious, a thinking mind in an unconscious universe. And if we are alone, if there is no one else out there, what then? Then the responsibility becomes ours. To preserve, to protect, to carry forward the spark of intelligence, the flame of curiosity, the rare and delicate phenomenon that allows the universe to reflect upon itself. If we are truly alone, then it is our duty to survive, to learn, to push forward, so that the story does not end with us. One day, humanity will step beyond this world. Whether out of necessity or ambition, we will leave the shores of Earth and cross the great cosmic gulf. We will walk on other worlds, breathe in the air of unfamiliar planets, build cities under foreign skies. The descendants of our species will look up at distant stars, perhaps forgetting the small blue world where their journey began. And yet, even then, the same questions will remain. For as long as we exist, we will wonder. We will seek. We will ask what came before, what will come after, and what our place is in this vast and silent cosmos. And maybe that, above all else, is what makes us remarkable. Not our technology, not our intelligence, but our longing to understand. Our refusal to accept the limits of our knowledge. Our relentless drive to reach for something greater. The universe does not owe us meaning. But in our questions, in our search, in our desire to explore the infinite, perhaps we create meaning for ourselves. And as long as there are minds that look to the stars and wonder, then in some way we have already reached them.
The universe moves forward, relentless and eternal.
Stars are born, their fusion fires igniting in the cold abyss, casting their glow upon the surrounding darkness. Planets coalesce from the dust of ancient collisions, some barren, others brimming with unseen potential. Galaxies drift, carried along the invisible currents of spacetime, bound by gravity yet expanding ever outward. The cosmic stage is vast beyond reckoning, and yet in all of it we are here, thinking, questioning, seeking. We are creatures of the cosmos, made of its dust, shaped by its forces. But unlike the stars, the planets, and the great void itself, we are aware. We can look beyond ourselves, beyond our brief lifespans, and glimpse the grand mechanisms at work. We have seen the fingerprints of the early universe in the faint glow of the cosmic microwave background. We have traced the movement of galaxies, watched the birth and death of stars, and uncovered the hidden structure of the cosmos. And still, we have barely begun to understand. What we know is but a fraction of what remains hidden. What we have seen is but a tiny sliver of what exists. The visible universe, the glowing matter that forms galaxies, stars, planets, and us, accounts for only a small fraction of the whole. The rest is dark matter and dark energy, invisible forces shaping reality, dictating the fate of the cosmos while eluding our grasp. What is dark matter? We know it is there, that it pulls on galaxies, binding them together, keeping them from flying apart. But we do not know what it is. It does not shine, does not reflect, does not interact with light in any way we can measure. It is like a ghost, present but unseen, a silent architect of the universe. And what of dark energy? This mysterious force that drives the expansion of the cosmos, accelerating it, pushing galaxies farther and farther apart? It is as if the very fabric of space is being stretched, an unseen hand pulling at the edges of existence itself. If it continues unchecked, what will become of the universe? Will it expand forever, growing colder, darker, until nothing remains but the fading embers of dying stars? Or is there some deeper mechanism at play, something we have yet to perceive? These are questions we may not answer in our lifetime, but they are questions we must ask. For to seek knowledge, to push against the limits of understanding, is to defy the silence of the void. It is to affirm that, though we are small, we are not insignificant. And what of life? Of all the great mysteries, this may be the most profound. We know that life arose here on this world, shaped by time and chance, nurtured by the delicate balance of conditions. But is Earth unique? Is life a rare accident, an anomaly in an otherwise sterile universe? Or is it an inevitability, a natural consequence of chemistry and physics, waiting to emerge wherever conditions allow? The more we search, the more we realize how little we know. We have discovered thousands of exoplanets orbiting distant stars, many of them in the habitable zone, where liquid water might exist. We have found complex organic molecules drifting in interstellar space, the same molecules that may have seeded life on Earth. We have seen the icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn, with their hidden oceans, where alien life might stir in the darkness. And yet, the universe remains silent. No signals, no voices calling across the cosmic gulf. If life is out there, it has not yet revealed itself. Perhaps the distances are too great. Perhaps civilizations rise and fall in isolation, never crossing paths. Or perhaps the silence itself is an answer, that life is rare, that we are an anomaly in a vast and empty cosmos. And if that is true, if we are alone, then our responsibility is greater than we ever imagined. For if we are the only voice in the void, then we must ensure that voice is not lost. We must endure. We must explore. We must carry forward the light of consciousness, because if we fail, if we fall, then the universe will once again be silent. One day, we may leave this world behind. The sun will burn on for billions of years, but Earth is not eternal. The forces of time, of entropy, of cosmic upheaval will one day render it uninhabitable. If our species is to survive, it must become something more than planetary. It must reach outward, toward the stars. And so we must ask, what will humanity be in 1,000 years? In 10,000? In 1,000,000? Will we spread among the stars, seeding life across the galaxy? Will we build civilizations beyond the limits of imagination, harnessing the power of entire suns, bending space itself to our will? Or will we be gone? A brief flicker in the darkness, a species that looked up, that wondered, that reached, but not far enough. The answers lie ahead, waiting in the vastness. But the future is not written in the stars. It is written by us. By the choices we make, the paths we take, the dreams we dare to pursue. For now, we remain on this fragile world, looking outward. But one day we will go. We will touch the planets that now seem distant. We will walk on the frozen plains of Europa, soar through the rings of Saturn, stand beneath the twin suns of some far-off world. The universe is waiting. And as long as we continue to seek, to question, to reach beyond the limits of what we know, then in some way, we have already begun our journey. The universe is not static. It is not a frozen, unchanging void, but a living, evolving expanse, an endless symphony of creation and destruction, of energy shaping matter, of light carving through the dark. Galaxies collide, stars ignite and collapse. Entire worlds are born and lost in the unrelenting tide of cosmic time. And yet, amid this infinite and indifferent vastness, there exists something truly extraordinary, the ability to wonder.
For all our frailty, for all our insignificance in the grand scale, we are creatures who dream beyond our limits.
We ask questions not because the universe compels us to, but because something within us refuses to accept the unknown. We search not because survival demands it, but because there is an innate fire in us, a restless curiosity that propels us outward. What is the destiny of such a species? What becomes of beings who refuse to be bound by the gravity of their birth world, who gaze at the stars not just with admiration, but with intent? The first steps have already been taken. We have sent machines beyond our solar system, messengers drifting through interstellar space, carrying with them the echoes of our existence. We have walked on the moon, set our sights on Mars, dreamed of journeys beyond the confines of our sun's warm embrace. But will we go further? Will we transcend the limits of our biology, our technology, our fears? The journey to the stars is not just one of physics, of propulsion, of engineering. It is a journey of perseverance, of vision, of an unshakable belief that the boundaries we know today are not the boundaries of tomorrow. For if we remain here, if we linger on this one fragile world, we will always be at the mercy of forces beyond our control. A world can be lost to fire, to ice, to the slow decay of time. The history of the universe is filled with extinction, with cosmic catastrophes that do not recognize the difference between intelligent beings and dust. And yet, even if Earth one day falls silent, even if our world is swallowed by the inevitable end of the sun's life, that does not have to be our end. The atoms that formed us have traveled across time and space, forged in the hearts of ancient stars, scattered by supernovae, reshaped by gravity into new forms. If matter can endure, why not thought? If the universe itself is a cycle of rebirth, why should we not continue that cycle, expanding our reach, ensuring that the light of consciousness does not fade into the abyss? Perhaps in some distant future, our descendants will stand on an alien world, under an unfamiliar sky, and look back toward the pale of Earth, our first home, our cradle, our past. And they will remember that once, long ago, we dared to leave the shore and venture into the unknown. They will not speak of a single moment, a single launch, a single discovery, but of an unbroken chain stretching back to the first spark of curiosity. They will know that they are not just wanderers, not just explorers, but the continuation of something far greater, the relentless pursuit of knowledge, the refusal to accept stillness, the insatiable desire to reach beyond. And if beyond the limits of our sight, there are others, beings shaped by different stars, by different elements, by different histories, will they see us as we see ourselves? Will they recognize in us a shared fate, a shared wonder, a shared drive to defy the silence of the void? Or will they too be searching, listening, waiting, just as we do? The universe is not meant to be empty. Its scale is too vast, its chemistry too generous, its laws too welcoming for life to have arisen only once. And if we do not yet hear the voices of others, perhaps it is because we are among the first. Perhaps we are the pioneers of the cosmos, the ones meant to light the way. If that is true, then we must act as such. We must go, not just for ourselves, not just to survive, but because we carry with us the possibility of something greater. We are the first whispers of intelligence in an otherwise silent universe. But we do not have to be the last.
The stars are waiting. The journey is not over.
It has only just begun. The stars continue to burn, distant and unwavering, as they have for billions of years. Long after we are gone, long after the last traces of our civilization have faded, they will still shine, silent witnesses to the passage of time. And yet, for a fleeting moment, we are here. A species that dreams, that questions, that looks up at the night sky and refuses to accept ignorance. Perhaps this is what makes us different from all that has come before. The universe has been creating and destroying for eons, but we are the first known part of it to ask why. To wonder at the forces that shaped us, to seek understanding beyond the limits of instinct, to imagine futures not yet written. And in that, we have already defied the void. For the universe is indifferent, but we are not. We care. We strive. We reach. And yet, we are fragile.
Our world is a speck in a vast and violent cosmos. Our species a brief experiment in time.
Life on Earth has faced extinction before. Asteroids, supervolcanoes, global ice ages, mass die-offs caused by forces beyond our control. And one day, whether through catastrophe or slow decay, our planet will no longer sustain us. The sun will swell into a red giant, swallowing the inner planets, stripping Earth of its oceans and atmosphere, reducing it to a lifeless rock. If we are still here when that happens, if we have not yet left our cradle, then we will perish with it. But we do not have to. There is still time. Time to learn. Time to explore. Time to ensure that, when the Earth is no longer habitable, we will not simply be a memory. The road to the stars is long, and the challenges are immense. The distances between us and even the nearest worlds are daunting. The dangers of space, radiation, isolation, the unforgiving vacuum, are real. But every great journey begins with a single step. Already, we have sent our first machines beyond the influence of the sun. Tiny probes drifting through interstellar space. They carry messages, recordings of our voices, our music, our existence, etched onto golden records that may one day be found by unknown beings. But we cannot rely on chance alone. We must go ourselves. Mars will be the first step, our first true test of life beyond Earth. It is a harsh, barren world, yet it holds the potential for something new, a human presence beyond our home. And after Mars, there will be others. The icy moons of Europa and Enceladus, where oceans slumber beneath frozen crusts, whispering of the possibility of alien life. The distant exoplanets, orbiting stars so far away that their light began its journey to us before our ancestors first stood upright. And one day, we will go beyond even that. For space is not an obstacle. It is a pathway. A bridge to futures we can only begin to imagine. We are not the first to gaze at the night sky with longing. We are not the first to dream of flight, of exploration, of touching the distant worlds we see only as pinpricks of light. But we may be the first with the power to make those dreams real. And if we do not?
If we turn away?
If we decide that the stars are too far, that the effort is too great, that it is easier to remain here, bound to the world of our birth, then we will have failed. Not just ourselves, but the entire thread of life that has led to this moment. For billions of years, evolution has shaped us, refined us, gifted us with intelligence, with curiosity, with the tools to break free from our planetary prison. If we do not take that next step, if we allow ourselves to be confined to a single world, then all of it, all of history, all of progress, all of the struggles and triumphs that brought us here, will have been for nothing. But I do not believe that will be our fate.
Wir are restless. Wir are seekers.
The stars call to us, and we have already begun to listen. We are at the very beginning of something immense. We stand at the threshold of a future that stretches beyond time itself. And though we may not yet know what awaits us among the stars, one thing is certain: we were never meant to stay here. This is only the beginning. The journey has just begun. The universe does not wait. It moves forward, unceasing, indifferent to our existence, to our hopes, to our dreams. And yet, for all its vastness, for all its silent grandeur, we remain here, watching, wondering, reaching. There is something remarkable about this moment in time, something fragile yet powerful. For the first time in the history of our species, perhaps in the history of life itself, we stand on the edge of a new era. We are no longer bound by the gravity of our homeworld, no longer confined to the narrow slice of reality we were born into. The sky is no longer the limit. We have touched the moon. We have sent our machines beyond the influence of the sun. We have peered into the depths of the cosmos, seen galaxies as they were billions of years ago, traced the echoes of creation itself. But these are only the first steps. The first breaths of a species awakening to its true potential. The future we dream of, the future among the stars, will not come easily. It will demand ingenuity, perseverance, a resilience greater than any we have ever known. But we have always been creatures of challenge. We have crossed oceans without knowing what lay beyond. We have climbed mountains, ventured into the abyssal depths, reached out toward the unknown not because it was easy, but because something in us refuses to remain still. That same instinct will carry us forward. Mars will be the first great test. It is not a second Earth. It is an unforgiving world, a place of frozen deserts, of thin air and radiation, of dust storms that rage for months. Yet we will go. We will build. We will learn. And as we do, we will lay the foundations for something greater, a humanity that does not depend on a single world, a single fragile ecosystem, a single chance at survival.
And beyond Mars?
There are worlds of ice and water in the outer solar system, moons where alien oceans churn beneath thick crusts, waiting to be explored. There are asteroids rich with metals, resources beyond measure, waiting to be harvested. There are exoplanets orbiting distant suns, places that may one day become new homes, new cradles for life. But this is not just about survival. It is about something more. It is about becoming. Humanity has never remained where it was born.
Wir are wanderers, seekers, explorers by nature.
The cosmos is not something we are meant to merely observe from a distance. It is something we are meant to touch, to live within, to claim as our own. There will be those who say it is impossible, that the distances are too great, that the challenges are too immense. But history has already answered them. It has shown us time and time again that the greatest leaps begin with small, uncertain steps. That what seems impossible today will be the foundation of tomorrow. And if we do not go, if we choose to remain here, confined to the world that birthed us, then the universe will continue without us.
The stars will burn on.
The galaxies will drift. The expansion of space will stretch further and further until one day, the last remnants of our world are nothing but dust. But if we go, if we take that next step, then we will become something more than what we are. We will not simply be creatures of Earth, bound to a single moment in time. We will be children of the stars. The path before us is vast. The future is unwritten. And the only question that remains is whether we will choose to take the journey. for the stars are waiting. And we were never meant to stay.
The universe stretches before us, infinite and silent.
It does not call to us, nor does it welcome or deny our presence. It simply is, vast, indifferent, eternal. And yet we gaze up at the stars with longing, as if somewhere out there, among the nebulae and galaxies, among the cold drifting worlds, there is something waiting for us. Perhaps it is not the universe that calls to us, but something within ourselves. A restless hunger, a need to move beyond what is known, to seek, to understand, to become. For all our progress, for all our knowledge, we are still confined to a single world. A fragile sphere of rock and water, floating in the endless dark. Here we were born. Here, every triumph and tragedy of human history has played out. But this world, beautiful and precious as it is, will not last forever. The forces that created it will one day take it back, whether in fire or in ice, whether in centuries or in millennia. If we remain bound to this one place, then we are nothing more than a temporary phenomenon, a fleeting anomaly in the grand scheme of time. But we do not have to be. The journey outward has already begun.
We have walked upon another world, left footprints in the dust of the moon.
We have sent our machines beyond the boundaries of the solar system, into the interstellar void. We have studied distant exoplanets, measured the faint tremors of stars, glimpsed the past written in the light of galaxies billions of years away. But for all our knowledge, for all our discoveries, we are still at the beginning. The Great Migration has yet to begin, the moment when humanity steps beyond its cradle, when we become more than a species bound to a single rock. It will not happen in an instant. It will take time, perhaps centuries. But history has shown that when we set our sights on something greater, when we refuse to be limited by the present, we are capable of more than we ever imagined. Mars will be first. Not as a place to visit, but as a place to stay. We will build there, learn to survive in its harsh, airless expanse, transform it from a dead world into something new. Then the outer planets, the icy moons where hidden oceans slumber beneath frozen crusts, waiting to be explored. Perhaps life exists there already, strange, alien, unlike anything we have known. Or perhaps they are empty, waiting for us to bring meaning to their silence. And beyond? There are exoplanets, worlds orbiting distant suns, some of them Earth-like, some of them strange beyond our wildest dreams. They are impossibly far, unreachable with our current technology. But that too can change. It must change. For if we are to endure, if we are to write our story across the stars, we must learn to cross the immense distances of the cosmos. The road ahead is long. There will be failure. There will be loss. There will be times when it seems impossible. But that has never stopped us before. We have always been wanderers, explorers. We have always been driven by the need to move forward, to push against the limits of what is possible. And that is why we will go. Because we must. Because to remain is to accept the end. Because the universe is waiting. And because we were never meant to stay. The universe is vast beyond reckoning, a boundless ocean of time and space stretching in every direction, expanding into a future that has not yet been written. It is a realm of fire and ice, of ancient stars burning in the void, of planets drifting unseen in the darkness, of forces so immense that they shape reality itself. And yet, in all this immensity, there is something rare, something fragile, something that has only just begun to awaken. Us. We are small. A single species on a single world, orbiting an ordinary star in an ordinary galaxy. From a cosmic perspective, our existence is nothing more than a flicker, a brief spark in the long unfolding of time. But there is something in that spark that is unlike anything else we have found. Something that may be unique, or impossibly rare. Awareness. The ability to look beyond ourselves, to question, to dream, to reach for something greater than mere survival. The ability to imagine a future beyond the boundaries of our planet, to envision a destiny among the stars. It is this, more than anything, that defines us. For all our frailties, for all our struggles, we are the first known creatures to have stepped beyond their world, to have sent their eyes and minds into the depths of space, to have glimpsed the vastness of the cosmos and dared to ask, what comes next? Because we cannot stay here forever. Earth is our home, but it is not our final destination. No species can survive indefinitely on a single world, no matter how perfect, no matter how nurturing. Sooner or later, the forces of time and entropy will make life here impossible. The sun, giver of warmth and energy, will one day turn against us. It will expand, devouring the inner planets, stripping away the atmosphere, reducing our world to nothing more than a lifeless rock. And even before that day comes, there are other threats: the slow decay of our planet's environment, the possibility of impact from a wandering asteroid, the unrelenting march of extinction that has already erased so many species before us. We have one choice: to go.
Tu lise Kradle.
To ensure that, when Earth is no longer a home, humanity will still endure. The first steps have already been taken. We have reached the moon. We have sent our probes to the edge of the solar system. We have identified planets beyond our own, places that might one day become our new homes. But for now, we remain bound to this world. For now, we are still standing at the edge of the abyss, looking outward, hesitating. The future will belong to those who choose to step forward. Mars will be the first great test. Not because it is easy, but because it is hard. Because surviving on another world will require us to become something more than we are today. It will force us to innovate, to adapt, to think in ways we have never had to before. It will demand that we overcome the limitations of our biology, that we find ways to thrive in a place where there is no air to breathe, no oceans to sustain us, no forests to provide shelter. But we will do it. Because we must. And once we have done that, we will not stop. The gas giants call to us, their moons hiding vast oceans beneath layers of ice, potential sanctuaries for life, perhaps life that has already begun. The asteroid belt offers us the raw materials to build, to create, to expand beyond the limits of what a single planet can provide.
And beyond our sun, the stars light.
They seem impossibly distant, their light taking years, centuries, millennia to reach us. But time is not a barrier. Distance is not a barrier. They are only challenges, waiting to be overcome. The first people to cross an ocean must have felt the same fear, the same uncertainty. They did not know what lay beyond the horizon. They did not know if they would ever return. But they went anyway, because something inside them refused to accept the limits of the world they knew. And now, it is our turn. One day, there will be human footprints on other worlds. There will be cities beneath alien skies, voices carried on the thin air of planets we have not yet named. There will be ships crossing the void, sailing through the blackness of space as surely as our ancestors once sailed the oceans. And if there are others, if there are minds beyond our own watching, waiting, perhaps they too will see us not as strangers, but as fellow wanderers. Perhaps they will recognize in us the same hunger, the same longing to move beyond the known, to find new places, new horizons, new stories to tell. The universe is waiting, and we must go. The universe is not a place of stillness. It is a realm of constant motion, of stars being born and collapsing, of galaxies drifting and colliding, of endless expansion into an unknown future. Nothing remains unchanged, and neither can we. Humanity has always been a species of movement. We left the forests for the open plains, crossed rivers and mountains, braved the frozen tundras and scorching deserts. We built boats to traverse oceans, machines to conquer the sky, rockets to escape the gravity that held us bound to Earth. And yet, for all our progress, for all our exploration, we have not truly left home. Not yet. But the time is coming. The next frontier is no longer theoretical. It is not a dream for future generations. It is a reality within reach. The technology exists. The need exists. The drive, the instinct, the ancient call of the unknown, it exists. And so we must go. We must go because Earth is a fragile sanctuary, a single point of warmth in an otherwise frozen, airless void. We must go because no species can survive if it remains confined to a single world, subject to the whims of nature, to the slow march of planetary change, to the inevitability of cosmic disaster. We must go because life is precious, and the only way to preserve it is to carry it forward, to spread it beyond this one blue world, to plant its roots in the soil of alien landscapes. Mars will be first, not because it is easy, not because it is perfect, but because it is there. A challenge waiting to be met, a test of our ability to endure. The first settlers will not find comfort, they will find struggle. A world where the air is poison, where the sun is dim, where the dust is a relentless enemy. But they will build. They will transform the barren land into something new. And with every generation that follows, Mars will become less of an outpost and more of a home. Then, we will go further. To the ice-covered moons of Europa and Enceladus, where oceans slumber beneath thick crusts, whispering secrets of what may lie hidden in the deep. To Titan, where rivers of liquid methane carve their way through alien landscapes beneath an orange sky. To the asteroid belt, where the raw materials of creation drift, waiting to be shaped into ships and cities. And beyond. Always beyond. The nearest star system, Alpha Centauri, is impossibly distant by the standards of today. But time is on our side. Just as the first seafarers never imagined the steamship, just as the first pioneers never imagined spaceflight, we too may stand at the dawn of something greater than we can yet comprehend. Perhaps, in centuries to come, the light of human civilization will shine from many worlds. Perhaps on a distant planet, beneath an alien sun, there will be cities where our descendants walk, unaware of a time when their ancestors were bound to a single fragile world. But that future will not happen by itself. It will not be given to us. It must be earned. The road ahead will be difficult. There will be failures. There will be sacrifices. But history has shown that the greatest achievements of our species have always come from those who refuse to accept the limits of the present. This is not just about survival. It is about becoming something more. It is about embracing the destiny of a species that was never meant to remain in one place.
The universe is waiting.
And we will answer. The universe does not ask if we are ready. It does not wait for us to decide if we will take the next step. It moves forward, with or without us. The stars will burn, galaxies will drift, new worlds will form, and old ones will be swallowed by the relentless march of time. And in the vastness of this cosmic dance, we have been given a moment, an opportunity, to decide who we will become.
Wie stand at the threshold of so meeting gritatan ourselves?
For millennia, we have looked to the sky with longing, seeing in its endless expanse a reflection of our own restless nature. We have named the planets, traced the constellations, woven myths into the fabric of the heavens. But now, we no longer need to dream, we can act. The tools of exploration are within our grasp. The knowledge of the cosmos is no longer beyond our reach. The universe is not a distant mystery, it is a frontier waiting to be crossed. And so we must go. Because to remain is to stagnate. To stay bound to a single world is to accept that one day, our story will end, not in some distant apocalypse, but in the slow decay of time.
The earth will not last forever. The sun will not last forever.
If we are to survive, if we are to endure beyond the fragile temporary moment that is our existence, we must reach beyond the cradle of our birth. Mars will be the first true test. It will not be a paradise. It will not be easy. But it will be ours to shape. The first settlers will step onto its dusty surface not as visitors, but as pioneers, as the architects of the first human home beyond Earth. They will face the challenges of a hostile world, where the air is thin and the cold is merciless. But they will endure, because that is what we do. And after Mars, the stars. Our future is not on a single planet. It is scattered across the void, waiting to be claimed. There are moons with hidden oceans, asteroids filled with the raw materials of new civilizations, planets orbiting distant suns that may one day bear the weight of human footsteps. The distances are vast. The obstacles are immense. But history has already shown that we are capable of more than we once believed possible. 1,000 years ago, the idea of flight was impossible. 100 years ago, the thought of walking on the moon was absurd. 50 years ago, the idea of discovering thousands of exoplanets was unthinkable.
And yet, here we are.
We are the first generation in history with the power to leave our world behind. We are the first to see beyond the limits of our ancestors, to understand the vastness of space not as an impossible void, but as a pathway leading outward. And if we do not take it, then we will be nothing more than a moment, a brief light in the darkness, extinguished without a trace. But if we take that step, then we become something more than just a species on a single world. We become a force of nature. We become the universe itself, awakening to its own potential. We become infinite. And so we must go. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. Because the stars are waiting. And we were never meant to stay. The stars remain where they have always been, distant, cold, unreachable. But only for now. For the first time in history, we have the power to break the chains of our birth world, to extend the fragile spark of life beyond this one blue planet. It is not a question of if we will go, but when. And more importantly, whether we will go soon enough. Because the universe does not wait.
The earth is not eternal.
It is a fleeting sanctuary in the vast and violent expanse of space. It has shielded us, nurtured us, given us everything we needed to grow. But no cradle lasts forever. The forces that created it will one day take it back. Whether through our own hands or the slow decay of time, Earth will change. The sun will expand, its warmth turning to fire, swallowing the inner planets before shrinking into a cold ember. Our world, which has carried life for billions of years, will be left barren and silent. But our story does not have to end here. The future belongs to those who are willing to build it. We must go, not out of fear, not because we are running from something, but because we are running towards something greater. Because exploration is not just something we do, it is something we are. Mars will be the first great test.
Not a final destination, but a beginning.
It will teach us to live without the comforts of Earth, to adapt, to endure, to build where nothing has ever been built before. The first colonies will be fragile, struggling against the relentless environment of an alien world. But as the years pass, as the dust settles, those first footsteps will turn into permanent settlements. Generations later, Mars will no longer be a distant, hostile wasteland. It will be a home. And from there, the stars. The moons of Jupiter and Saturn, where hidden oceans churn beneath layers of ice. The asteroid belt, filled with the raw materials of industry. The exoplanets circling distant suns, waiting to be explored, to be studied, to be claimed. The obstacles before us are immense. The distances are vast. But history has shown that we do not accept limits. We crossed deserts that seemed endless. We sailed into the unknown, knowing we might never return. We took to the sky on fragile wings, turned the night into day with fire, stepped onto the moon with nothing but our ingenuity and our will. And if we have done all of this, if we have already touched the edge of the cosmos, how can we stop now? The universe is silent, but it is not empty. It is waiting. Perhaps somewhere, others have walked this path before us. Perhaps they are still out there, watching, wondering if they are alone. Or perhaps we are the first. If so, then we have a responsibility, not just to ourselves, but to the vast, empty night. To bring light where there is only darkness. To ensure that, long after our sun has faded, intelligence, curiosity, and wonder still remain.
The stars are waiting.
And we will go. The stars are waiting, but they will not wait forever.
The universe is in motion.
It is a place of constant change, of birth and death, of expansion and collapse.
Galaxies drift apart.
Stars are born in clouds of dust, blaze for a time, and then fade into darkness. Planets form, orbit their suns, and one day, they too will be swallowed by time. Against this backdrop of cosmic inevitability, we have been given a moment, a rare and fleeting moment, to shape our own destiny. For the first time in history, a species on a small fragile world has reached the edge of its own sky and dared to look beyond. We have sent our machines to the outer planets, touched the surface of other worlds, captured the light of galaxies as they were billions of years ago. We are no longer confined to our own horizons, but we are still standing at the threshold. The path to the stars is open, but we have not yet taken it. We hesitate, held back by doubt, by fear, by the illusion that there is still time. But the universe does not grant second chances. The Earth, as stable as it may seem, is not immune to the forces that have shaped and reshaped the cosmos for billions of years. If we choose to remain here, if we let hesitation and complacency keep us bound to this one world, then we are choosing extinction. Not today, not tomorrow, but inevitably, we must go. Not simply because we can, but because it is what we were made for. Mars will be the first great step, not as a place to visit, but as a world to claim, to build upon, to transform. The first settlers will struggle, but they will endure. The first cities will be small, but they will grow. One day, children will be born there who will never call Earth their home. And after Mars, the universe. The frozen oceans of Europa. The clouded skies of Titan. The asteroid fields rich with resources waiting to be harvested. And beyond, to the nearest stars. The distances are vast, but they are not impossible. We may not know today how we will cross the great divide of interstellar space, but neither did the first humans who looked across an ocean and wondered what lay beyond. We are creatures of exploration. It is written into our nature, woven into our history. To hesitate now would be to deny what we are. One day, the light of human civilization will shine from many worlds. One day, the descendants of those who dared to take that first step will look back at Earth, a distant blue speck in the sky, and they will remember. They will remember that once, long ago, there was a generation that refused to accept the limits of a single world. A generation that chose to step beyond. A generation that answered the call of the stars. And so we must go. Not someday. Not in some distant future. Now. Because the universe is waiting. And we were never meant to stay. The universe is not silent. It speaks in the language of collapsing stars, in the whisper of cosmic radiation stretching across eternity, in the slow, patient dance of galaxies spiraling toward one another. It is a story told in light and gravity, in fire and ice, in the quiet pull of forces so immense they shape reality itself. And now, for the first time, we have the chance to add our own voice to that story. 4 billion years, the cosmos has existed without witness, without thought, without purpose beyond the unfolding of physical law. But here, on this small and fragile world, something changed. Life emerged. It struggled, it adapted, it learned. And in time, it lifted its gaze to the sky and began to wonder. It has taken us only a moment in cosmic time to reach this point.
A mere Fraktion of the universe's edge. A blink in the lifespan of the stars.
Yet in that time, we have climbed from the caves to the cities, from the forests to the moon. We have unraveled the structure of the atom, charted the birthplaces of galaxies, sent our machines beyond the reach of the sun's light. But we are still at the beginning. If we remain here, if we choose the comfort of the known over the challenge of the unknown, then we are choosing stagnation. We are choosing to let the universe move forward without us. And so we must go. Because one world is not enough. It is not enough to sustain us. It is not enough to contain us. It is not enough to be the final chapter of our story. Mars will be the proving ground, a place where we learn what it means to exist beyond Earth. It will be harsh, it will be unforgiving, but it will teach us. It will shape us into something more than what we are today. It will be the first step in a journey that will not end until we have spread beyond the limits of our own Sunday. There is no guarantee of success. There never has been. When our ancestors first left their homelands, they did not know if they would survive. When they first set sail across unknown seas, they did not know if they would return. Every great leap has been taken in the face of uncertainty, with only the hope that something greater lies beyond. And this will be no different. The distances are vast. The obstacles are immense. But they are not insurmountable. We have always been a species that looks toward the horizon and asks, "What's next?" And now, the horizon is no longer the edge of the ocean. It is no longer the peak of the highest mountain. It is no longer even the orbit of our own world. Now, the horizon is the stars. Perhaps we are the first to take this path. Perhaps we are alone in this moment, the only flicker of awareness in a dark and endless cosmos. Or perhaps others have come before us, and we have yet to find their footprints among the stars. Either way, we cannot turn back. Because the universe is waiting. And the choice is ours. To remain in the cradle, or to rise. To accept the limits of one world, or to claim the infinite. To fade into silence, or to become the first light in a new age of exploration. We must go. Because the story of the universe is not yet finished. And we are the ones who will write the next chapter. The universe is waiting, but it will not wait forever. In the great silence of the cosmos, we have been given a moment, a fleeting chance to decide whether we will be a species bound to the ground beneath our feet, or one that rises beyond it. Whether we will vanish into the long night of history, or whether we will leave a mark upon the stars. For billions of years, the universe has expanded, galaxies drifting ever further apart, stars igniting and fading, planets forming and dying, all without purpose or witness. And then, on a small and fragile world, something extraordinary happened. We opened our eyes. We looked up. We saw the endless sky and understood for the first time that we were part of something greater. And yet, for all our knowledge, for all our advancements, we remain bound to a single world. We speak of the stars, we dream of them, but they are still distant, still unreachable. Not because we cannot go, but because we have not yet chosen to. The future is not written. It is waiting to be shaped by those who dare to imagine something more. Mars will be our first test, not a place of comfort, not a world that welcomes us, but a place that will challenge us, force us to adapt, to evolve. It will demand resilience, ingenuity, and sacrifice. It will ask us to leave behind the familiar, to step onto alien soil and carve a new path forward. And if we succeed, we will not stop. We will push outward, to the frozen oceans of Europa, to the methane lakes of Titan, to the asteroid fields where the raw materials of new worlds drift in silence. And beyond, always beyond. There are planets orbiting distant stars, worlds waiting in the dark, untouched and unknown. Some may be barren, lifeless places, waiting to be transformed. Others may hold secrets beyond our understanding. Perhaps we will find life, strange, alien, unlike anything we have ever known. Perhaps we will find nothing but silence. But we will not know unless we go. This is more than a journey of exploration. It is more than survival. It is the fulfillment of something deep within us. The drive that has pushed us forward since the first human stood beneath the night sky and wondered what lay beyond the horizon. We are not meant to stay. We are not meant to be confined to a single world, to accept the limits of the present. We are meant to rise, to build, to reach for something greater than ourselves.
The stars are waiting.
And it is time we answered. The universe is vast, ancient, and indifferent. It does not ask if we are ready. It does not wait for us to decide. It moves forward, expanding into eternity, with or without us. But we have a choice. To remain or to rise.
To let the light of our civilization flicker and fade, or to carry it beyond the fragile limits of Earth.
For the first time in history, we have the power to shape our destiny among the stars. To ensure that when the sun sets on our world for the final time, humanity will not end with it. That our story will not be confined to a single chapter, on a single planet, in a universe filled with infinite possibilities. We must go, not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. Because the stars are waiting. And we were never meant to stay.